Well, I decided to start something new today. So what I thought I would do is make a quick video documenting my time flying the DJI Avata for the first time. I have never done any type of FPVing before, so this will be the first FPV flight ever by me, which is exactly what this drone is designed for, is for beginners like myself to be able to enter into the world of FPV. So why the Avata and why FPV? Well, first off, FPV, it just adds a new dynamic tool set to my creative workflow. It allows me to offer something to clients when I get proficient enough, and also create cool dynamic content for my travel films and things like that I make. So, and then the Avata, what I like about it is not only is it beginner friendly, which is what it's targeted for, like myself, it's small. So I can pack this thing into my pack really easily and not take up a ton of space. I mean, the goggles and the drone itself are both very compact and allows for me to be able to pack my camera gear. I can also still bring this drone if I want to, and I don't really have to worry about that weight and that space being taken up. By saying that this is beginner friendly, what do I mean by that? DJI actually sent the drone with this controller, and then I later had to buy this controller. And the difference between these two is this actually acts as a joystick. I'll show you guys me flying it around here with some footage, and you'll probably hear some feedback from me, but you use this trigger to accelerate and decelerate, and then you can pitch and turn and all that, just like you would maybe in a video game, feel like you're flying an airplane or something. So it's very intuitive, and it is really easy. It's nice. It gives you this little dot on your screen that you can kind of aim your drone when you're flying. So it gives you the perspective that FPV has that you can't get with these other drones. Now, it doesn't give you everything. By far, does not give you everything. I mean, you can't do a lot of the really cool FPV maneuvers with that. That's why you need this booger right here, which this allows for you to toggle what's called manual mode. And manual mode is very difficult if you have never flown a drone before. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. What I'm going to do, though, is let you guys watch some of my first flying. Let's jump into me out in the field. All right, so let's jump on in. So if I pull the trigger, it makes me go. Ooh, okay. What mode am I in? If I click this button, I'm in normal mode, okay. This is very intuitive in terms of flying. It just feels like I'm in a video game by just controlling this here. And there's a little dot in the center of the screen that kind of tells me where to point towards, which is fun. So let's maybe see if we can go around the yard here. I know there's this brake function, so I'm going to try that. I'm going to click it right now. Oh yeah, that's really cool. Oh yeah. I promise this is, I've never done FPV before. Can we do it again? Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, there we go. And I crashed for the first time, so let's go get that. Now, crashing an FPV drone comes at no surprise. You're going to crash them. That's just a part of it, right? Now, what's cool about this is this thing is pretty durable. I like how the camera sits behind a lot of these protective areas, so it does give you a little bit of forgiveness when you are crashing it. Now, if you notice, I was flying. Anytime I was getting kind of brave, it was over the nice soft grass. So when I did crash, it wasn't too bad. Now, one of the lessons I did learn, though, is I did panic one time. And what happened was I crashed into the grass, and I went to go ahead and stop the propellers by clicking the button. You double click this lock button and it will shut the propellers off, so you're not just, keep trying to fly the drone into the ground or cut up your grass and everything. Well, what happened was it did catch I don't know, like lift, if that's the right word, it did catch again and flew straight up in the air. And I thought I was losing control because I couldn't get it to stop. In that split second, instead of hitting the brake button, I decided that, I need to stop going up. So let me do what I was about to do, and that's kill the propellers. You know what happened next. This thing then fell out of the sky, landed on top of my house, bounced around, then hit my awning, and then landed on the ground. I was able to go find this laying on its back, and I was scared to death to pick it up. But after I picked it up, the only thing on it was the battery was a little scratched, and you have some scratches. Again, it's kind of hard to see without the light, but there's some scratches up here on the front, and that was it. I fired up the propellers again and just kind of took her off for a second, and it worked. But I decided to stop there for the time being, which then leads me to the second lesson that I learned, and that is going into the simulator. So DJI offers this thing called the DJI Virtual Flight, I think is what it's called. Let's see. We got this Virtual Flight app. And so what this does is allows for you to go into your goggles, but it lets you set up a simulator. And so I went ahead and I started flying in the simulator to practice, which is great because I want to learn eventually how to fly manual, but I don't want to do it with the risk of killing my new drone. So I went ahead and I jumped in there and I fired up the drone in the simulator and took off. And then for some reason, my drone just started flying straight in the air and almost was just going away, and I could not control it. Well, then I decided to research, and the reason is the throttle that I had set, if you look at this one here, anytime I push it, it goes right back to the middle. This one, though, if I go up, it's going to stay up. This time, if I go down, it's going to stay down. I had the throttles backwards, and I also didn't have that adjustment made yet on it. So what I ended up doing was on the back here, if you pull this off, there are two screws, two little Allen wrenches, like right there and right there. I know there's a bunch of holes, but you can actually see maybe. I don't know if it's going to show up, but there's two spots there that say F1 and F2. And if you adjust those or tighten them, you can essentially keep this from popping down. So now I actually have control over my throttle. And if you are an FPVer and you've been doing this for a long time, bear with me. I'm brand new. And so then now I can actually learn how to control my throttle and then start to fly. And I'll tell you what, the first time flying in the simulator, I'm really happy that I'm doing it there and not somewhere else out there crashing my drone, because it is definitely a different world. The second little mini lesson that I learned there is when I was trying to go straight, I kept on going up. Well, come to find out, I actually had to set my orientation of the camera, this orientation, to match what's called the attitude of the drone. So when the drone flies, it actually points down, right? And so I need the camera to come up to match that. And so anytime I was trying to adjust my attitude in a way that makes sure it would fly straight, my camera perspective wasn't correct. So I was actually pointing it too up, so that's why I was making it rise, or pointing it too down. That's why I was just straight diving. I couldn't just get it to go straight. So I adjusted that, and I was good to go. And then I was able to learn how to adjust you can fly, tilted on different axes and all this cool stuff. It really is a fun experience, and I can't wait to start creating more videos with it. But let me answer some questions for you guys on why doing FPV. And the first one that I know I might get asked, because I was asked this by my wife, is, will I be selling this drone? Will I be getting rid of my other drone? And the quick answer is no. And the reason is they're both two completely different tools. But this drone has features such as like the tracking feature that I use all the time, especially when I'm out using my vehicles. I like to track them when they're driving, and it looks really cool, and I don't have to worry about it. I can also set up what's called master shots on this, so if I'm out at a cool location getting a good shot, I can get all these cool shots of me taking a photo and not have to worry about doing the compositions myself. And then I can also get cool, just static shots with it, The battery life is also longer on these, so I can stay up in the air longer. So there's just a lot of differences between them that they are both going to need to be in my bag. And then also right now, I'm not super confident with the FPV. So I got a trip coming up. I'm probably only going to take this remote. Actually, I know I'm only going to take this remote, and I'll probably do just some very simple maneuvers just to get out there and have some fun with it. But I'm not going to ramble anymore. I just more wanted to kind of talk to you guys and give you guys a very impromptu video about my initial feelings of doing FPV and some of my plans for it coming up. I'm going to do quite a few different videos around the FPV. So if you guys have any questions or want to see anything, then let me know. I'm not going to really teach this yet because I don't know it yet. I need to be more proficient, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to document my time learning it and my mistakes. I'm going to make some. So, but that's really what this, some of this series is going to be. So if you guys like travel, outdoor, nature, landscape, all that kind of content creation, then consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Also, make sure to hit the bell icon to be notified when I post another video, which, guys, I have a ton of videos about the van coming up. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button so you guys can watch some of that. I'm also going to be getting out in the field again here and doing some shooting. I have some ideas on what I want these videos to look like. They're going to be a little bit different than some of my other in the field videos you guys have maybe seen in the past. So gonna just try to mix things up a little bit. But that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.